Hello everyone, and welcome to your final week of this Term 1 Medical Terminology course. This week is a very short week, so unlike the last 5 weeks, you do not have until the end of the week. So I'm sending out this recording a little bit early so you guys can get the content, so you can get all of the work done by the due date, which is going to be Tuesday, May 9th. So this last topic that we're going to talk about is the digestive system, as well as the review of body systems. So it's only going to be one chapter this week, and that chapter is chapter 6. So chapter 6 is discussing the digestive system, which is also called the gastrointestinal system. It consists of digestive tubes called the GI tract or alimentary canal. It also consists of several accessory organs that will help to break down food, prepare it for absorption, and eliminate waste. But it also has the gallbladder, pancreas, and liver that will help to digest food. The GI tract will extend from the mouth all the way to the anus. So what we're going to do is take some time and go through each one of those organs. We're going to start right up at the top with the mouth. The process of digestion does begin at the mouth, or the other name for that we'll call it is the oral cavity. It is formed by the cheeks, lips, teeth, tongue, and hard and soft palates. The oral cavity also has 3 parts to it, and 3 parts of the salivary gland that secrete saliva. The saliva is the most important role because it helps to digest. It contains digestive enzymes that will help to break down food in a process we call a chemical breakdown. While we begin discussing the oral cavity, let's discuss the parts that form this. So the teeth play a very important role in the initial stages of digestion. This is due to the fact that the teeth mechanically break down food into smaller pieces as they mix with saliva. The teeth are covered in enamel, and beneath that is called dentin. Teeth are embedded into the gums, which is the pink fleshy tissue within our mouth. The tongue assists in the chewing process by manipulating the bolus of food during chewing and moving it to the back of the mouth to be swallowed. The tongue also helps with speech, production, and taste. And there are 4 basic taste sensations registered in taste buds on the tongue's surface. They are sour, sweet, salty, and bitter. The hard and soft palates are 2 structures forming the roof of the mouth. The hard palate is the anterior or front portion, and the soft palate is the posterior or back portion. So now, as we have started the discussion on digestion process, we need to move past the mouth into the pharynx, esophagus, and stomach. The tongue will push food into the pharynx, which is also called the throat. The pharynx is the funnel-shaped and serves as a passageway to the respiratory and GI tracts. The pharynx also does help with speech sounds. The lowest part of the pharynx divides into 2 tubes called the trachea, which leads to the lungs, and the esophagus, which leads to the stomach. The esophagus has a small flap of cartilage called the epiglottis. This will fold back to cover the trachea during swallowing, so food does not go into your lungs. But it also does this to force food to enter the esophagus. And then from the esophagus comes the stomach. Now the stomach is a sac-like structure located in the LUQ, or left upper quadrant. The stomach serves as a food reservoir that continues to mechanically and chemically digest food. The stomach extends to the first part of the small intestine, which is called the duodenum. The body of the stomach is the large central part. The fundus is the upper portion of the stomach, and these two areas are mostly storage. Most of the digestion will take place in the funnel-shaped part called the pylorus. The food is propelled through the entire GI tract through a process called peristalsis, which is coordinated and rhythmic muscle contractions. From the stomach, we now lead into the small intestine. The small intestine is a coiled 20-foot long tube that begins at the pyloric sphincter and ends at the large intestine. Digestion is completed in the small intestine, and this happens with the help of the enzymes and secretions from the pancreas and the liver. Any undigested food or unabsorbed food in the past is passed into the large intestine and eventually excreted from the body. The small intestine has three parts: the duodenum, the jejunum, and the ileum. The duodenum is the upper part and is about 10 inches long. The jejunum is about 8 feet long, and this is the middle section. And the ileum is the end part, and that is about 12 feet long. Now, any undigested food we talked about goes into the large intestine. The large intestine is about 5 feet long. It begins at the end of the ileum and extends to the anus. In the large intestine, no digestion takes place. It only has mucus secretions from the colon, which help to lubricate fecal matter and materials so it can pass easily from the body. The large intestine has three main parts as well: the cecum, the colon, and the rectum. The cecum is the first 2 to 3 inches, and it is a small pouch that hangs inferior to the ileocecal valve. This will lead to the appendix. The second part is the colon. The colon has the function of absorbing water and minerals and eliminating undigested material. The colon is divided into the ascending, transverse, descending, and sigmoid portions. The ascending colon extends from the cecum and the lower border of the liver. The colon continues across the abdomen to the left and to make the transverse colon. This will then curve beneath the spleen. The transverse colon will turn downward to form the descending colon. And the descending colon continues to the sigmoid colon and then to the rectum. And the rectum is the last part of the GI tract and terminates at the anus. So now we have discussed the entire GI tract. Let's discuss some of the accessory organs of the GI tract. Although the liver, gallbladder, pancreas all lie outside of the GI tract, they all play a vital role in the proper digestion and absorption of nutrients. To begin, we have the liver. The liver is the largest glandular organ in the body and weighs about 3 to 4 pounds. Is located beneath the diaphragm in the right and left upper quadrants. It performs many vital functions, and if it ceases to function, death will occur. Some functions of the liver include producing bile, which will help the digestion of fat, removing glucose or sugar from the blood that changes into glycogen or starch, which can be used later. It stores vitamins like B12, A, D, E, and K. It destroys toxic products into less harmful compounds and maintains normal glucose levels in the blood. And lastly, it destroys any old red blood cells and releases bilirubin. Next, we have the pancreas. The pancreas is an elongated, semi-flat organ that lies posterior and slightly inferior to the stomach. It performs both endocrine and exocrine functions. The endocrine function is to release insulin into the bloodstream to maintain normal blood glucose levels. Exocrine functions will produce digestive enzymes that pass into the duodenum through the pancreatic duct. The pancreas itself will produce enzymes like trypsin to help digest proteins. It produces amylase to digest starch and produces lipase to digest triglycerides. And the last accessory organ is the gallbladder. This is a sac-like structure in the inferior surface of the liver and is the storage area for bile, which is produced by the liver. When bile is needed for digestion, the gallbladder releases the bile into the duodenum through the common bile duct. Bile is also drained from the liver through the left and right hepatic ducts. Bile production is simulated by a hormone secretion, which are produced in the duodenum as soon as food enters the small intestine. Without bile, fat digestion is not possible. So now let's talk about some of the word parts that you're going to see. One of the word parts is abdominal, which is relating to the abdomen. Ano, relating to the anus. Bucco is pertaining to the cheek. Coli is referring to the bile. Colicyto is referring to the gallbladder. Colo, colino, all referring to the colon. Duodeno, pertaining to the duodenum. The suffix emesis means to vomit. Entero word part is referring to the intestines. The suffix in esophagy or esophageal is referring to the esophagus. Word parts gastro mean stomach, and gingiva means pertaining to the gum. We also have glosso or glotto, which is referring to the tongue. Hepat or hepatic is referring to the liver. Ilio is referring to the ileum. Jejunal is referring to the jejunum. Libio is referring to the lip. Lapero is referring to the abdominal wall or the flank. Lingua or linguo is referring to the tongue. Oro is referring to the mouth. Suffix pepsia means to digest or to eat. Phage or phagia is referring to eating or ingesting. Phago means to eat or devour. And then our word part procto means anus or rectum. And some of the last word parts that we're going to see are recto, again meaning rectum. Salo, which is salivary glands or saliva. Sigmoido is the sigmoid colon or sigmoid. Stoma means mouth. Stomato means pertaining to the mouth. Now, this chapter again does go on to continue to discuss pathology related to the digestive system and will include discussions on PUD, which is peptic ulcer disease, ulcerative colitis, hernias, intestinal obstructions, hemorrhoids, diverticulitis, and the oncology within this system, including those of colorectal cancers. So I do highly recommend reading or looking through those as well. Now, again, because this week is a shorter week, I made sure that you understand all final work is due Tuesday, May 9th. So this week your course project is on one patient, Nancy Jackson Davis. You will be given her full medical record. So you'll want to look through that full medical record and then answer the questions on the worksheet that follows. You do have a final exam in this course. Your final exam is 40 questions in length, and you will be given 40 minutes to complete this exam. It's also important that you understand you do have 2 opportunities to complete this exam, and the best score on your exam is what will count and stick in your grade book. For your live classroom this week, you will be given a code question again. The code question will be found in the live lecture, which we are doing on Monday, the 8th at 10 a.m. So please make sure that if you are able to attend, you do. Otherwise, please make sure that you are watching the recording in our Teams classroom. Again, all final work is due Tuesday, May 9th. All right, everyone, that is what I've got for you. It has been a pleasure to be on this journey with you through medical terminology. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please make sure you reach out to me. Otherwise, have a great final week. Bye-bye.